everyone, Miss GoElectric here. Now there are hundreds of brands that sell e-bikes in the US and they make every kind of style of bike that you could imagine. Now typically when I review fat tire e-bikes, those buyers and people commenting on those videos are usually a sportsman or a hunter or someone that's really looking to get utility out of it and put it to the test with its heavy-duty capabilities. But with enough refinement, the right fat tire e-bike could be the solution that's ideal for everyday riding, no matter what size you are or age or even skill level. Aventon has put that level of refinement into this, the Aventure M, and I have never seen a bike that has all the features and capabilities all in one package like this. So today we're going to go into great detail about the features and specifications, and then I'm going to take it out on the road and on the trail, and finally I'm going to summarize the strengths and weaknesses so that you can determine whether or not this is the right bike for you. The Aventon Aventure M is shipped as a Class 1 e-bike, which means the motor can help propel the bike to speeds up to 20 miles per hour while pedaling. It supports an optional throttle purchased separately, which enables propulsion without pedaling to 20 miles per hour. Like most Aventon e-bikes, the Aventure M allows riders to software unlock the bike to offer motorized assistance up to a maximum of 28 miles per hour while pedaling. This A100 250 watt mid-drive motor is designed by Aventon and can deliver up to 750 watts of peak power and 100 Newton meters of torque. Dual torque sensors determine the rider's pedaling intent and pedal position for smooth assistance matching. The system is paired with the Shimano Q's electronic shifter, which can change gears in response to manual trigger operation or shift automatically based on sensor data and torque needs. The shifting system is designed to temporarily decrease torque on the chain while changing gears for quicker and smoother gear changes. This feature can prolong the lifespan of drivetrain components and simplify the experience for riders at all skill levels. The UL2271 safety certified battery operates at 36 volts using LG cells with a capacity of 20 amp hours. That's equivalent to 733 watt hours. The battery is easily removable using the bike's control pad and can be optionally locked in with a customizable 6-input passcode. The bike comes with a 4-amp charger, which should deliver a full charge in 5 hours, whether the battery is installed or charged outside the bike frame. Aventon advertises a maximum range of 62 miles, with pedal assistance and eco mode on flat terrain, assuming a rider weight of 160 pounds. The bike comes in a step-over frame with 3 available paint options: Basalt, Pacific, and Camouflage like I have here. The aluminum frame is offered in regular and large sizes. The regular frame is intended for riders between 5'3" and 5'10", while the large frame seen here can accommodate riders between 5'10" and 6'4". The bike is IPX6 rated for water resistance. The Aventure M weighs 79 pounds with the battery installed and can support a total maximum payload capacity of 400 pounds. The rear cargo rack can support up to 59 pounds. This model includes SRAM DB4 hydraulic disc brakes with a 200mm rotor in the front and a 180mm rotor in the rear. The eShifter and 10-speed Q's derailleur are made by Shimano. The front fork suspension offers 80mm of travel, and the Innova puncture-resistant tires are 26 inches in diameter and 4 inches wide. A 50mm suspension seat post is also included. The color display includes a USB-A port which can supply electricity from the e-bike's battery to mobile devices. The integrated headlight and taillights with turn signals are standard. The Aventure M comes standard with extended coverage fenders and a rear rack as well. Aventon offers a wide variety of optional accessories available on their website. The Aventon app is among my favorites in the industry. It allows riders to remotely adjust granular ride settings in each pedal assist mode, including creating individual cloud-based profiles. The app can record rides and allow users to engage with the enormous community of Aventon owners. This Aventure M features a new Aventon Control Unit, or ACU, with an integrated 4G data connection and GPS receiver. These technologies enable location tracking and geofencing, in which owners set geographic boundaries for operation. The ACU can be used to remotely disable motors and lock the bike. The ACU's motion sensor can trigger a tampering alarm and even send notifications to the app if the bike is moved or stolen. A transportation mode is available to disable those technologies for transit. The bike can be set to auto shut off in a user-defined duration and can be set to lock when it shuts off. 4G data connectivity is included for 1 year. Subsequent annual pricing is currently set to $20. Aventure M owners get Aventon's comprehensive 2-year warranty and the benefits of one of the largest dealer networks of any direct-to-consumer e-bike brand with over 1,800 bike shop locations. If you have an Aventon retailer nearby, they can assemble and tune the bike for delivery, make test drives possible, and deliver warranty service. Well, I know it took a while to get through all of those features and specifications, but now I'm really excited to take this out on the road because this will be my first time trying out an electronic auto shifting system. So I'm going to be learning alongside you on this. So let's get out there. Now this here is my Unit 1 Aura helmet, and it is my favorite e-bike helmet because it does protect you with speeds up to 28 miles per hour, but also because it has so many really cool features. The integrated front and rear lights here also function as turn signals. The rear light also brightens when braking or decelerating. Those features enhance rider visibility and safety while riding. My favorite feature is the crash detection system. Sensors in the helmet communicate with the Unit 1 mobile app to send an SOS message to your emergency contact if you crash and are unresponsive to a safety check. The helmet has a magnetic brim which accommodates this default visor or optional magnetic lenses, including this one which dynamically transitions tint levels with up to 100% UV protection in dynamic lighting environments while riding. This helmet has several safety certifications including MIPS and is designed to protect e-bike riders traveling up to 28 miles per hour. Plus, I think Unit 1 helmets, backpacks, and other accessories look awesome. So I'll put a link up here and I'll also put one in the description if you want to investigate in buying one of these as well, but let's get to riding. All right, so just a brief side note is that you might notice while I'm riding here that the color of this bike is different. And that is because once we started to try to ride the bike, we noticed that there was a red light on the shifting, the eShifter mechanism. So Aventon sent us a new bike to replace that one with so that they could fix it and we could get this review out. So now we have a new bike and the shifting mechanism works. And luckily, the dealer was only about 20 minutes away to go pick this up. My daily mountain bike is the Aventon Rambless. So I wanted to be able to see how would this perform with that auto shifting mechanism with this mid-drive motor. And so far, it does need to drop the shift on some of these hills before I get ahead of them. So I'm in that first gear and this is just quite a heavy bike. I'm gonna actually up the pedal assistance because even in the lowest gear, it's a lot of work for me. This is a heavier bike than the Rambless. This is about 75 pounds. But let's see how upping the different assistance modes helps. Now this has one extra assist mode. It goes into auto mode, which I think is exactly what it's designed to be paired with when you're using that auto shifting. And already I'm seeing a much more balanced approach here, much easier as I'm going up these hills. So it does give me more of that power when I push down on the pedal with the torque sensor, and it makes it effortless to go up that hill. And it just shifted up a little bit when I was at the top of that hill. Very, very comfortable riding position. Now, a big difference between this and say something like a Rambless is the riding position. The handlebars actually come up a little bit towards the rider as well. So this is a great mixture between wanting to have, a smaller percentage of your time going on
trails like this, while still being able to use this as a commuter or going off any kind of terrain, whether that's sand or going through the snow. Now it's not as nimble when it comes around these corners, and that's because it has a fat tire. So it's a little bit more cumbersome when you're coming through the tight turns in comparison to the Rambless. And this does have a higher payload capacity of 400 pounds versus about 300 pounds. So if you do plan on putting some stuff on the rear rack, bringing more with you, or if you're just a heavier rider, that's something to consider as well. But the versatility of this is really where it shines. It still feels comfortable riding around on these trails. And so far, I'm really liking this auto shifting. Now, I've seen other people have suggested that maybe they wouldn't be using the auto shifting on trails like this. But as long as you have it in this auto mode, so far this isn't a super, crazy mountain biking trail. And I've been pretty happy with this performance. If you are doing more designated mountain biking, you might want to go towards something that is specifically designed to do that full time, like the Rambless. Love this power delivery though. Now another thing about the comfort is that this has a suspension seat post, and the suspension up front is 80 millimeters of travel. So I feel like that's pretty sufficient. It's good, but I definitely can feel the extra added suspension in the seat post, and the saddle itself is very comfortable. I'm really happy about the comfort level, especially considering that it has a little bit sportier looking of a design, but the cushion is really nice and it's wide. Now another thing about this auto shifting mode is I want to see if there is an opportunity for me to shift down on my own. And it does. It does. It allows me, even in the auto mode, not only from the pedal assistance standpoint, but also from the shifting standpoint. Oh my gosh. It's pretty amazing, actually. I'm very impressed by this now that I'm in that auto mode. And one of the main points that I want to make about a mid-drive is that they are more efficient, especially when paired with this torque sensor. So basically what that means for the rider is that you can extend your range. But when you get a mid-drive, one of the main concerns is that you have to be thoughtful about shifting under that power load, because you could snap the chain with the amount of power you're outputting. And with this automatic eShifter, basically that takes the work out of having to be concerned about the shifting. You can hear it working, and I can still change some of those parameters on the app, but it basically automatically tunes down the power briefly while it shifts, so you don't have the concern of snapping the chain or damaging your components under that load. And that's what I love about what Aventon has been recently doing with the ACU, that Aventon Control Unit, is giving the rider customization and personalization of riding their bike the way they want to, and saving those for profiles so that you're getting the most out of your bike and not having to buy a bike based on its default settings out of the box. You can choose. And with 100 Newton meters of torque, this is great performance. All right, so I just made some adjustments in the app for my expected cadence, and I lowered the setting. I had it set in the middle so I could have more of a like mid-grade, like very standard average experience, but lowering the sensitivity of the expected cadence is going to shift you know, when you're down at the lower speeds ahead of time. So I love that you can make such minute, flexible changes to how it performs in the app with the shifter and the pedal assist modes. And so far I'm already feeling like this is quite a bit of a difference. I really am. I'm so impressed with this auto shifting and the way this feels. The brakes are also amazing. They're really solid, great performing. I don't have to pull on them a lot. The levers are shorter, so they just got my 2 fingers out and I can easily grab at them without having any interference. And this performance is just incredible. If you want a bike that can pretty much do it all, don't look any further, because it also just makes the riding experience so much more enjoyable and smooth, and you don't even have to think about it when you're in this auto shifting mode. Now in this case, you know, I'm coming downhill and the brakes are performing well, and a lot of times on my mountain bike I'll get over the back wheel just to kind of balance that weight a little more. And this is a wider saddle, so not that you can't switch that out easily, but it's something to note that if you are going to be riding on trails like this more often and using it a lot as a mountain bike, you'll maybe want to swap out the saddle or just go with a rambless. When you look at the mid-drive performance, you know, you see that 250 watts of continuous power, but it peaks at 750 watts. And honestly, I think this is plenty for this bike. So more recently, like when this bike launched, some of the people that reviewed it didn't have all the features available, and it got a new hill start assist, an uphill assist, I should say. And what that does is, if you have to get off your bike and go up a hill and you're using a walk mode, you can actually press the minus button and it will basically act as if it's holding a brake for you. I'm not sure if that basically like locks out the motor or whatnot. I'm gonna have to try that out, but it will nope. See, I might have to adjust that sensitivity again and bump it back up a little bit higher, because it is shifting a little preemptively for me in that case. Basically, that uphill start will hold the bike in place for you if you want to take a break while you're trying to get the bike uphill. All right, I think it's time that we head back. I'm going to actually take this on the road before I give my final conclusion, to see how it performs. And I want to do throttle tests and stuff like that, because although this bike doesn't ship with a throttle, you can buy one and simply attach it with the connector that's already there. It's only like $15 and it takes like 10 minutes, so we'll test that out. All right, so let's try this thing on the pavement. One awesome thing about this is that it has turn signals, so it has some of those commuter features that you would expect to get out of a bike that you would be able to ride on the pavement. Turn that turn signal off. Let's get up to speed. I have this unlocked in the app to go up to 28 miles per hour. And it's in the 10th gear right now. I'm going downhill a little bit, so I'm picking up the pace, but let's go through. See there, I'm at 28. I am using a little muscle in my legs on that top gear in order to get to that 28, but this bike can do it with pretty much no issue. Feels very comfortable, very stable with these wider tires. And I really want to see how this throttle performs, because since this is a mid-drive, you're going to get different performance based on the gear you're in. And especially if I'm in that auto mode. We'll go over this little speed bump. Now, as far as I understand, this doesn't have brake lights. It has tail lights, but when you put on the brakes, it doesn't turn the brake lights on. So hopefully that is something that Aventon will incorporate on more of the bikes, especially if you're going to be using this as like a commuter style bike. All right, feels pretty good on the road. I'm actually going to switch it out of the auto shifting mechanism. I'm going to put it in turbo mode, its top end, for its speed, and I'm going to try shifting on my own and see how this throttle is going to perform. Let me get down into the lowest gear set. Let's do a throttle test. We'll see how quick we can get up to speed at the end of this path with the stop sign. 3, 2, 1. High torque at that low speed. Got to shift up. And I'm at that 20 miles per hour. Now, I didn't try the throttle out on the trail, but that is something that you could also do, is give yourself a little extra oomph when you are going uphill or something like that, if you want to give yourself a little bit more power. Personally, in the auto mode with the auto shifting, I didn't feel the need to have to do that at all, which I think says a lot about that system. In front of this guy, I'm in turbo mode, so let's see how quickly I can get up to speed. Very, very easy. That auto shifter is still on. A little clunkier in that turbo mode with all the power, but feels great on the road. No, the motor is still fairly quiet, and to be honest, I hear a little bit more of just the tire noise on the pavement than I do of the motor, especially once you get to those higher speeds. I love the fact that you can just shift on your own too in this auto if you're like, I don't want to stop and change my settings. You can just have it, adjust it on your own. I like these grips too. I think they're very well balanced, considering if you are going to take this off trail, they're nice for that. They're still comfortable. All right, let's head back and I'll share my final thoughts about the Aventon Aventure M. As always, I'm going to start off with the opportunities for improvement, and then I'm going to get into what I really think Aventon nailed with this bike. So my first opportunity for improvement has to be the price point. Now, the thing about this bike is that it is a perfect 50-50 balance between, say, a Rambless e-mountain bike and the Aventure 3. Now, what I mean by that is the Rambless is really designed to be primarily on the trails, so you could take it mountain biking and on steep hills because of that mid-drive motor with a lot of torque. Whereas the Aventure 3 is designed 75% of the time to be more like a casual rider. It has turn signals, you get some of the creature comforts like the fenders and the rear rack and things like that. The Aventure 3 also has cruise control. It has a lot of those anti-theft features as well, so that if you're in an urban environment and you're worried if someone's gonna take it from you or anything like that, you'll get alerts, or you can geofence and track it and things of that nature. The other 25% of the Aventure 3 is really designed to go on light trails or in the sand or in the snow, and moderate grades. So for comparison, the Rambless is listed at about $2,600, whereas the Aventure 3 is listed at just about $2,000. And this bike here, the Aventure M, is listed at about $2,900. So if they could get that price point down closer to maybe the $2,200 or $2,500 price mark, I think it would be a better fit for the Aventon buyer, because most of Aventon's buyers are going to be more of a casual rider. At about $2,800, the audience is very small and limited, whereas at about $2,500 or even better, $2,200, it's a much wider audience. So I know Aventon knows that if they could get the price point down, that would be helpful, but I think it would make it a lot more accessible for more riders and be really interested in this because it's such a great bike. The only other opportunity for improvement that I see would be that the taillights back here would include brake lights, and there would be some mechanism to alert people around you when you're amongst traffic, since you could use this on the road, on pavement, and on trails where other people might be. A bell, or my preference is an electric horn, would be really great to see. All right, so let's get into the things that I really enjoyed about this bike, and there's a long list of them, so I'm just gonna touch on some of the highlights. And the first one for me has to be the eShifter with the auto shifting mechanism. It just makes it very simple for you to not even have to think about the whole mid-drive system and shifting under load or anything like that. So it's a more accessible bike because of that. And more importantly, it opens up the opportunity for higher torque and better efficiency in a package like this. The reason people benefit from a mid-drive motor like this is because it has a lot more torque, so you can tackle any kind of terrain or any grade that you want to, but you also get the efficiency benefits of it. So basically you can stretch out your range in the same size battery as what you would have maybe in a hub motor much further in a mid-drive motor setup. And of course, I really appreciate the customization that you can make to the eShifter so that you can have it perform exactly how you want. It performed great out of the box, but I was able to quickly dial it in on the app so that it rode very natural to how I wanted to ride it. And speaking of that customization, the ACU, or the Aventon Control Unit, has to be a shining star on this bike, like any of the other bikes in their lineup that have it, because it provides so much extra security with the ability to have anti-theft features, the alarm. You can also geo-fence it so it works in certain locations. You also have the ability to choose to electronically lock out the rear wheel so that a thief couldn't just roll it away and take it. And while I'm on the topic of the app and being able to do everything that I just talked about, the app is probably the best app available from an e-bike brand that I have ever reviewed, and I've reviewed a lot of them. It is very impressive, and they always continue to update it to provide more features, just like the bike. Another highlight for me has to be the comfort. This is much more comfortable than the Rambless. It has a much wider seat. It has a suspension seat post. The cushion is really nice. It also has a pretty cushy front suspension, but you also get that added suspension from the tires as well. Now, the riding position on this is a lot more comfortable than the Rambless because that is really designed to be a more sport-oriented positioning. This has the same handlebars coming back up at the rider a little bit, and it is very comparable to the Aventure 3, but I would even say that this is probably even more comfortable to Aventure 3, especially when it comes to the saddle. But of course, the Aventure 3 has cruise control and this does not, and it also has the option to get a step through so that it's much easier to get on and off the bike. And one final highlight has to be that they have all the safety certifications when it comes to the electronics and the battery, so UL 2271 and 2849. It's great to see, and I love that that is becoming the standard for a lot of bikes in the industry. And not only that, but they have a very wide dealer network and partners for service, so pretty much you can go and find a dealer in a lot of places around the country. In summary, I have ridden on these same trails on my Rambless, and I will say that the Aventure M is quite a bit more comfortable, especially with that suspension seat post and this saddle, and I've been really happy with how this performs. I feel like if you're looking for a bike that you're going to spend half of the time going on the trails and half of the time riding it around as a casual rider, then Really, there's nothing else that I would recommend at the top of the list other than this. If you'd like to learn more about the Aventon Aventure M, or if you want to buy one, we hope that you'll use our discount link in the description below. That really helps our channel to continue producing these types of reviews. Well, until next time, drive, fly, ride. Go electric.